Hello, this is Dr. Dave Maslach talking to you about reciprocity.com. The E is written with a 3. And in this particular video, I want to talk to you how do you actually critique a research article. So if you don't know me, I'm associate professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship. And I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There were so many people that helped me out that I wanted to pay the favor forward and help you out. All right, so in terms of doing a critique on a research article, this is where I'm thinking about you as a researcher, or maybe you are in grad school or going towards grad school. And you're thinking of how do you actually critique a manuscript. So we do this actually a lot in when we're actually doing, articles and stuff like that, whether it is what is called friendly review, where you're handing it to somebody else and they're giving you some feedback. And that's usually a little bit more condensed, a little bit smaller. Or you're going for like formal review in terms of a journal article and you're sending it to a journal, and this is what the editors are expecting and the other authors are expecting. So you send your article in, comes back with reviewed comments on that in terms of your article, in terms of how to improve it. And this is what we have to do on the other side in terms of reviewing. I've won a number of different reviewing awards and all that kind of stuff. That's not necessarily important, but the important thing is to sort of know that we do spend a fair bit of time doing this. And it's usually you don't get a lot of credit for it other than maybe the odd award or something like that, but it does matter in terms of the other side. If you didn't know this, most research articles are actually built by a team of people, not just the ones that you see, but the editors and the reviewers actually do a lot of work on the other side in terms of helping the other person out, in terms of building the article. It's not a solo endeavor in any sort of way. All right, so in terms of reviewing a research article or critiquing a research article, this is what I normally do, and what I've seen a lot of other people do. Is that normally what you end up seeing is review of the paper, a little overview of the paper in the first little bit of the research article or of the review, right? So somebody read, and really what you're seeing is that somebody else read that article, and that's what they're trying to communicate to you. And they're saying, this is what I think is what it's about. And they're trying to give sort of an interpretation of what they think it's about and where they think it actually can go. It's actually really kind of useful when you see this, because then you're like, oh, okay, that's what I was talking about. That's what other people thought that I was talking about. And it's important to see that, because then you can actually develop it a little bit further and understand what you're trying to do. And then immediately after that is the people will provide like the comments of things about what they liked about the article, right? And so you're kind of saying, maybe it was really good data that they had, it was a really cool theory that they developed, and nice hypothesis, it was written well, whatever, that they're giving some sort of comments and feedback to say that this was actually pretty well done. And it wasn't all crap, right? So any review that just says that this is completely all crap, they're probably missing the mark completely, and they should be actually providing some positive feedback. There's always pros and cons, right? So every article anybody does, it is tricky to do, and we acknowledge that. And that's what people end up doing, is they try to acknowledge the fact that it is tricky by doing that. You actually did do a lot of work. Any article that is done well is going to take months, not a matter of like a week or two, to actually get the darn thing done and out the door. All right. So in terms of once you've done that, that's kind of like the positive part, right? So you're kind of thinking of like a sandwich, right? So you do positive comments, and then you have some negative comments, and then you leave with the positive comments at the end, right? So that's the way that you're kind of thinking about that. So in terms of the review in the middle, and this is the stuff that matters, where you're telling people, I didn't like this, I didn't like that, these are my concerns. And really what you're trying to do is prioritize. So this is what I normally do, and what lots of people do, is they prioritize in terms of what actually needs to get done. That they really think that needs to be done on the article, right? So they'll probably put the major ones up front, or maybe they do it in chronological order in terms of how they read it. And then they might sort of say that these are the most important points that you should go and do and change in the article. Without these changes, it's not necessarily going to be all that, it's not going to get the same sort of fanfare as what it would have done if you just would have simply, did what you did, right? Or made some minor changes. And so there's so you want to sort of provide major problems, concerns, flaws. You can use the language flaws, but yeah, I've seen it done, but it's not necessarily a flaw because sometimes you just don't see the thing that you're doing, or maybe the data is just not perfect, and you just need to sort of be clear about that. And that's what you're trying to do. Then you want to prioritize again. So rank order them sometimes, whatever way, chronological, but then point out that these are the most important. And then really good reviews won't just point out that this is terrible, right? Nobody wants to hear that. And we know that our articles are imperfect. Everybody knows that, right? But what we're looking for in a really good review is going to suggest ways to change the article in terms of providing solutions. And that's a really critical thing that I think most people are sort of forgetting when they do the review process. Sometimes it's just like a time constraint. You just are like, I don't want to put in a lot of thought into the in terms of a review, but people that are very thoughtful and they think about it, especially at the good article or the good journals, they're going to give you like solutions. They're going to say, you know what, you just need to do X, Y, and Z, and it'll be so much better. You have to sort of rechange everything, reframe everything. Let's talk about this particular theory. Did you think about this thing, this particular theory over here? There's these hypotheses that are not necessarily all that clear. You just have to simply make them in this way. And if I were you, and that's a good way to sort of frame it. If you're doing this for your first time, just sort of simply say, if I were you, if I'm in your spot, this is what I would do, right? Like I would actually change these things and sort of say this rather than that. And you're just giving solutions. And that's really, really helpful because that's the hardest part is, we all know that we're flawed. We all know that our papers are imperfect. But then nobody will say, well, you should probably do this. And if you just said you should do this, that's going to help you a long ways. And then the last thing you should point out, or I should point out, is, the last little bit, you kind of have some positive comments again and give them an atta girl or an atta boy, where you just say, you're doing a really good job. And you're actually doing everything you should be doing, except for you've got to make these sort of major changes, and then everything will be much more positive, and just keep working at it, that kind of things. But what I want to point out though, and every journal is going to say this, is don't put any sort of judgment about whether you should accept or reject the paper in that part of it, right? Because that really irritates the associate editors and the editors, because it kind of like doesn't really give them latitude to make decisions, right? So sometimes they want to either reject it or accept it based on, their latitude and their judgment. And they're probably going to be a little bit better at that because they're just a little bit more experienced. So give them that latitude by not saying, you should accept this article or you should reject this article. That kind of stuff is just, it's going to frustrate the editors, the associate editors, because it gives them, it doesn't give them the benefit of the doubt of making that judgment call, right? So you're making that judgment call, and you're just not at that stage yet to make that judgment call. You got to wait until you are an associate editor to make that judgment call. And so just take a step back with that. And there'll be big, bold letters, do not do this, in every review that you ever do. Or when you're doing a review for a journal, they'll explicitly say that. Don't make that judgment. So that's all I wanted to talk about. Hopefully that helped you out in terms of critiquing a research manuscript. Is you go through, you not only want to give positive points and sort of reiterate what they did, in sort of your views, but also go through the major flaws and then provide solutions of how to actually change the thing that you want, that you're thinking about, right? So it's one thing just to simply say, terrible idea. Another thing to say, terrible idea, it's actually not too bad because I would actually do this if I was in your case. And that's going to be massively helpful. It's going to help out the academia as a whole if you start thinking about sort of solution-driven mindset rather than the problem-driven mindset. So give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Try to be as helpful as I possibly can. And that's it. That's all I wanted to say. All right, take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.